the season of gifts and getting what you want, hopefully. But will Spurs get what they want in January? Will Levy be a good set? Will Ange said he's going to wait to see if he's going to be in the naughty list or the good list this year in January to see what he's going to get. We'll go with you, Stel, first. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk. Transfers in the last few days, the likes of Todibo being linked with Spurs, a centre back. Do you think Levy will back Ange in January? And what does backing Ange in January look like to you?
Do I think Levy will back Ange? I'm probably the worst guest you could have had on the show to talk about Daniel Levy. I mean, between Brian Daigle and I, you're asking for trouble, aren't you? History says no, but I'm torn because my heart says he won't, but my brain says he'll be an absolute moron of the highest level if he doesn't, because he's got the fans back on board, he's got the football that's good, we're in a good position in the league. Surely minimum Daniel Levy wants top 4, so at least back Ange for top 4 if anything, right? Look, I'll tell you what I think about the whole situation, and maybe you guys might think I'm a bit mad, but before the season started I said we're going to finish 8th or 9th, and then when Harry Kane left I said that's it, we're going to get 14th, 15th. I think we're in trouble. Then I started watching the brand of football and I was just blown away how quickly a manager can get such a style going with a group of players that were pretty much, mid-table last season. Ange has surprised me massively, and I have to say he's a top manager. This guy's a top manager, and it's not me being reactionary or knee-jerk. He's a top manager. He gets it. And then the start to the season, I said, do you know what? I think Spurs can get top 4. I really do. I completely reversed my opinion. I said, we can get top 4. And I said to a few friends, if we can stay injury free, get into January in the top 4 race and bring in 2 or 3 top players, I think Spurs are dark horses for the title. I said dark horses, meaning I don't think we will, but don't write us off. And injuries hit us and that was it. Okay, forget this dark horse business. But we've somehow got through it playing good football, and the teams around us have kind of not impressed. I'm still not convinced by Liverpool. I'm not convinced by Arsenal. I think Arsenal are like a German team, very efficient, just churning out results, but I'm not convinced by the way they play. Man City, everyone's talking about Man City, but we know what they're capable of. But we're only a couple of points off them. And you look at Chelsea, they're all over the place. Man United, up and down. So I'm now looking at it thinking, hold on a minute. We're only 6 points off the top, a couple of games before January. If we buy 2 or 3 players in January and we're still kind of where we are now, are we dark horses for the title? And I'm going to say it. Yes, we are. I think Spurs are dark horses. Maddison comes back. Son comes back from African Nation with Papisar and Bissouma. Van de Ven comes back. Bentancur comes back. You've got the fringe players like the Lo Celsos and the Ben Davies and whatnot. They're doing a job. Suddenly you got a half decent squad, and then you add another 2 or 3 players, a centre back, a proper left-sided, excited, explosive winger, and maybe a striker. And Richie's beginning to score. Guys, how are we not in the conversation is what I'm going to say. I'm not
and no European football as well. No European football.
No European football, right? I'm not saying we will, because I think to win it, you've got to be... everything's got to go your way, and you need to get the rub of the green like consistently as well. But why are we not in that conversation if Levy does back Ange? So my answer to you is, or my thought on this, should I say, is I don't know if Levy's going to back Ange, but if he does, my God, we are in the conversation, and that's an exciting place to be as a Spurs fan. I just hope he does back him, because I've got a feeling if he doesn't, I don't know how Ange is going to react to it, because he's dropped a couple of truth bombs in the interviews after games. I want the players early. I'd like them early because if I get them at the end of the window, then they haven't played in the early games in January to have an impact. That's him saying, can I have the players early so that we can actually have a good January? You've got Mourinho coming out with his comments about, oh, there is this one club that doesn't win trophies who sacked me. And so he's kind of dropping a bit of pressure on it. And I just hope Daniel Levy, for once, an opportunity has come. You had an opportunity with Poch. You had an opportunity with Redknapp in January many years ago. Just do what this manager needs now. I know there's probably a long-term plan to reboot the squad again in the summer and maybe the following summer. But when an opportunity comes like it has now, it really is going to be whichever club strikes whilst the iron is hot. I think they're going to be the team that goes on to win the trophies. And the same applies to Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and Tottenham and Aston Villa. The club that shows the ambition now, I think, is going to be the one that goes on and surprises everyone. So, Sim, I hope he does, because it's going to be another opportunity missed if he doesn't.
What does backing Ange look like, Stel? What for you? How many signings does that mean?
Well, over the long term, backing a manager for me means give him time, ride the rough as if it's the smooth. Don't panic and do some knee-jerk reactionist sacking. Keep the manager, keep it long term, and bring in the players that the manager and the recruitment team agree to bring in, and get rid of the ones they don't want at the club. That's what long term looks like. But short term for me, if we can get 3 players, and I'm being realistic, we're not going to sign 4, 5, 6 players in January, but if we can get 3, we've done 2 in the past. Can we get 3? Can we get a centre back, a left-sided winger, and either a striker or someone that can play up front or attacking mid and score goals? They've got to be, the main attribute is they get goals. So if we can get those 3 players and they work for Ange and they hit the ground running like Udogie, Van de Ven, Maddison did, listen, I agree with Ashmaik. Fire. I just see fire.
Ash, how many signings for you do we need in January to say that Levy's backed Ange?
I mean, I could tell you how much I'd like. I would like 4 signings, but pragmatism is Levy's middle name, and
Ash
I think
is hungry.
Like,
Ash is very hungry.
But I'm starving, bro. You don't understand the way I'm so humble right now. But basically, I think we'll get. It depends how early we get transfers done over the line. The earlier we get business done, the more potential we have of getting more signings done. I think that's how the board works. They're opportunists. So if they see something last minute, they will go for it and they will go and grab it. That's how Levy works, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years. So I think I'm hoping 3. I think they will get 3 done, because the centre back thing looks like it's happening. Ange has said it numerous times in the media, in the public. So I'm thinking centre back definitely. He said the winger first as well. So I think if we can nail centre back and a winger, and then if anything else comes up, he wants that 8. He wants, I think, competition for like a Pape Sarr. I'm not sure there's real competition for Pape Sarr at the moment, in terms of a player that's got high energy, covers a lot of ground, but can also finish, like can shoot, can pass, has a little bit of creativity as well, like in that attacking third. So I think that's his thinking. So yeah, if we can get that done, then it's a start. Then summer, then we go for it. Summer, we go again. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting because, like Stel mentioned with Mourinho, God bless Mourinho for dropping that as well about the whole cup situation. Like, we need to make a statue of him as well. But if remember, Redknapp came out as well, and he was saying, like, during the windows, like, he asks at this player and that player, and he hopes that they take Ange seriously because he likes how Ange is playing. He likes the style of football. So even Redknapp is coming out backing the guy. So the more of these like ex-employees that were used to manage for us, or even ex-players, are coming out. And the thing is as well, the difference between maybe like your Contes and your Mourinhos and your Nunos is that Levy actually did a press conference, like a fan forum with this guy. So that just gives me a glimmer of hope that maybe things might change. But then I've got the other side of me that says, yeah, I don't know. And
20 years.
And he's no fool, he's no mug. And as soon as things go wrong, he'll be like, Man United, oh man, oi, Neville's already trying to massage his shoulder.
That's the worry.
Neville's already massaging his neck.
That's the worry.
Oh, he's like, oh, Ange, just so great. I like the way you play aggressive. And
Already the flirting's out.
Hey, they're vibrating their butts violently for Ange. I'm telling you, bro. So
can I ask you a question, boys, on this?
Go on.
Right? If you look at Spurs, how we're structured now, the stadium's built, the financing's all organised, the money's coming in, the academy's built, they've got the manager that they want, they've got a happy squad, we've got good cash flow, everyone's fighting to get tickets on match day, people are buying the kits, you've got the NFL, you've got all the income streams are healthy. You've now got a new football director, a sporting head chief officer, whatever he's called, a CEO of football. You've got this data analytical department. You've got Lange that's come in from Aston Villa. The team, the background, footballing people are there. They're all communicating. There can be no excuses, surely, to not have now, during this month, lined up your targets, began behind closed doors, conversations with agents, conversations with clubs, and lined it all up. So on the 1st of January, it's literally bang, 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 bang. Shoot them all down, bring them in. It's all laid out. That's strategic. It's tactical. The people are in place to do it. So do you guys see any reason why we can't get pretty much all of this done in the first 2 weeks of January? When you look at how Spurs are now structured and what's been sold to us as fans as, look, we've been waiting for this moment now. It's all there. It's all ready to go.
All depends on people going out, I think. Or if we do loan deals, structured loan deals, I think that's how we've done it in the past, isn't it? Like, if you go for someone like a Jota who's on a loan or who's free, he hasn't got any deals with that Saudi club, we could potentially get a player like him in, obviously pay money for Tadido or whatever his name is. And then the rest just like, then that's 2 players in already. Do you know what I mean? So then that's what I think. I don't know.
No, I think there's no excuse. There's no excuse for me in what you're saying in terms of to at least get 1 or 2 through the door, at least have the agreement very close, very early in the window. I don't want to see us scrambling around on deadline day like we were in the summer for Gallagher or Chalobah, or just basically we'll take whatever we can get on deadline day because we're scrambling around. There's no excuse to be performing like that as a football club anymore. I'm sorry. We've got everything in place. There's strategies, and Ange has been talking about his targets but beforehand. Surely at this point now, we're going to... I want to see us planning ahead of the window so that when it comes to the window, there seems to be some sort of strategy in place as to how we go about getting our targets, as opposed to how it seems, which is we'll see who's available and we'll see if it's in our price range and we'll scramble around for what we can get, essentially. And I don't think there's any reason to be operating like that anymore. I think we're in a very good place financially. I think as a football club, in terms of the structure of the club, in terms of how we're going about our business, it seems to be a lot more structured and in a lot better position. So I don't want to see us on deadline day in January be scrambling around for players, 100%.
I don't know if we'll get a striker, man. I want to get a striker.
I don't think we're going to get a striker in January. What we might get is like a winger who can play striker kind of thing. But why would we get a striker when we have Richarlison and Son? Why would we?
That's what I'm thinking logically. Like, I think we need a left back more importantly, but I think if Mickey van der Ven, if we get a centre back that can play left back, then I think the club might think Mickey van der Ven can play left back if need be. And then if Udogie gets suspended in the future. But yeah, theoretically, you're right, man. I think striker would be nice, but I
think maybe in the summer, maybe when we reevaluate the situation, Richie, if he's still not doing it, then maybe if he leaves, we can get one in. I don't see us signing a striker while we still have Richie and Son on our books, because I think those 2 players can both play up front, and I don't see why we would bring in another striker to compete with those. I think we have those two. I think it's much more likely we'll bring in a winger, but maybe it's possibly like a winger who can fill in up front if need be. But I think I'd much rather a left winger than I would a striker right now, to be honest.
Is this not a lack of ambition though? And I'm just, I'm putting it out there because, like I said before, there's an opportunity that is in front of us. We've been here before. We've been here before many, many times with many managers where there's an opportunity, whether it's a cup final and we sack the manager before it, whether it's Redknapp who asks for 2 players and he gets 2 players that don't fit what he wanted, whether it's Pochettino who went 2 years without being backed, and if we had backed him, where could we have gone? Is this not yet another moment with Tottenham Hotspur, with this ownership, where we find ourselves in a position none of us thought we would, 6 points off the top, potentially in a title race, not saying we're going to win it, but mathematically you can't say we're not, playing some of the best football in the league. We've got all the Sky Sports commentators loving commentating Tottenham right now. They've even said it, especially Gary Neville. Is this not a moment where the board say, right, get the centre-back, get the winger, get the striker, Ange, go win us the league, dude. Go win us the league. Is it not a case of, if we don't do it, we're missing an opportunity? Because, yeah, I get it. Buy the striker in the summer, but in the summer, Arsenal become 10 times better. Man United at some point are going to get their game together. Chelsea aren't going to carry on like this forever. Man City certainly aren't going to be like this next season. This is what I'm saying. Strike when the iron is hot. Is that not now, guys? Does the ambition not need to be brought forward and do it now? Don't wait to the summer because the opportunity is now.
But we have a striker right now who's got 10 Premier League goals. One of the top goal scorers in the league in Son, playing up front. And then Richarlison now has 4 goals. He's starting to hit training form, and we know he's a striker. I know he hasn't done it for Tottenham by and large, but we know he is a striker who can score goals in the Premier League. He has shown that in the past, maybe not in a Tottenham shirt, but hopefully he's starting to show that now. I guess it will be dependent on...
He's not a 20-goal-a-year striker.
We have Son, but Son isn't he?
Well, think about it. You see,
Son is, yeah.
So we got a 20-goal-a-season striker, and then we got backup Richarlison. I'm not sure what more you could want in a striking duo.
But Son's not really... Son for me isn't really a striker. He's someone that can play in that role. But the thing with Son is, if Son's given the ball one-on-one with the goalie, or he only needs 2 touches to get a shot away, he's clinical. But if we play up against low blocks, or if we play where he's not kind of getting the service and he's got to drop deep like Kane did to create, he's not that player. What I'm saying to you is...
Yeah, but then we have Richarlison.
He's good in the air.
Which is important against low blocks. I would argue.
The thing with Richarlison is that throughout his career, he hasn't really played as a centre forward. Only when he's come to Tottenham, he's actually played as centre forward. Deep it.
For Brazil he plays up. Richarlison for Brazil he plays up front, and for Everton in his last 18 months, Everton predominantly he was playing up front.
He was more of a wing. If you check it, it was more of a wing forward. He was not a centre forward. He was more of a wing forward.
I don't know how long he was at Everton for. Let's say he was there for 4 years, 2018 to 2022. He was there 4 years. I would say his first 2 years he was predominantly on the wing, and then I think the last 2 years he was predominantly up front. I would say, if you looked at the stats, that's probably what it would look.
I would argue he was only up front when Dominic Calvert-Lewin got injured. That was the only time he was up front for Everton. And so, like, at Spurs, he's actually trying to learn how to be a centre. He hasn't, for like a large amount of his career, he hasn't really been a centre forward. So, and I agree with what Stel was saying. With his head, yes. But in terms of suppose the game's really dead and you just need that one chance to bury and it falls to him. Can you say Richarlison's going to bury that chance? That's where the question mark is. And so we could miss out on a striker, wait until summer, and then that striker doubles in fold because all of a sudden he's like, okay, Santiago Jimenez is scoring 30, 40 goals. Now Chelsea want him. Now Man U want him. Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to maybe getting him in now. We might have missing that opportunity and we're stuck with Richarlison and we can't get a striker. I don't know.
Just to confirm, he played 152 games for Everton, 77 as a striker and 73 as a winger. That's left or right. So he was buying. I mean, it's 50-50 pretty much, but he was just as much a striker as he was a winger when he was at Everton. I just think, look, I agree with what your point. I think in an ideal world, I'll probably want another striker, to be honest. Like if it was a perfect world, but it's not a perfect world, and I don't see. And look, let's be honest. If we want a striker who's going to improve on Son and Richarlison, you know, we're spending big money here. I don't see Levy justifying a big money striker signing when we have a 20-goal a season striker in Son. We have a £60 million striker as backup in Richarlison, who's just coming into good form there. Isn't there enough goals between those two up front to be okay till the end of the season? Is there like this massive need to spend big on a striker when we have goals in Son and Richarlison?
Well, where were the goals against Aston Villa and West Ham, Sim? Everyone said if Harry Kane was on the pitch,
and where, you know, and Haaland has games where he doesn't score as well. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, but with us, I feel that Spurs haven't battered a team as much as we haven't been battered. We haven't battered anyone either, other than Burnley. So that says to me we aren't taking enough chances. We're not clinical in front of goal. Like, how many Spurs fans have you heard say if Harry Kane was in this team right now? Oh my God. And that's what I'm talking about. Look, everyone wants to see a striker come in August, in the summer. Well, what I'm saying is, if you want a striker in August, why not do it now when the title is wide open? That's
Son has moved. Because in August, Son, we weren't really considering Son as our main number 9. And we didn't, and look, and his goal scoring now suggests he's very good at it. He's got 10 Premier League goals halfway through the season, so he's scoring a lot of goals. So, I mean, if we had a striker if we had two strikers who are really struggling for goals, I could maybe see more of a justification for it. I just don't see Tottenham doing that, to be honest. I don't see, like, we have two strikers there. Are we going to just spend massive money on the third striker just cause, basically? Like, is there any guarantee they're going to get more goals than what we have?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? What do I deem as Ange being backed? For me, it's ambition. If you're ambitious, you do it now, because now is where the opportunity lies. Next season, I don't know what all the other clubs are going to do. I also don't know what Spurs are going to do. We might be really ambitious as well, but it's always, let's wait till next year. What about next year? What about now? I want us to do something now. I get what your point is. When you've got Richie and Son, do you really want to go and spend money on a striker? But for me, the question is, do you want to win the league? Do you think we can if we buy a striker?
I think we don't. I think we if we buy a really good left winger, like a really good one, then I don't see the need to right now rush into buying a striker, to be honest. I don't really see that need. I think Son's got enough goals in him. He's look, who's a better finisher in world football than Son? No one. There's no one who's a better finisher in world football than Son. If you get him as a striker, you get a really elite or a really good left winger, then you got Johnson on the right, maybe rotating to Kula. I think there's just there's enough there. Look, I don't know if even signing a striker is enough for us to win the league, unless you sign like a real good one. But I'm just saying, if you're signing a striker to improve on what we got, I don't know, it's big money. And I just don't see right now, like in January. January is also a market where you're going to have to overspend if you want your guy, because it's mid-season. Clubs are less willing to let players go, all that kind of stuff. And now for a centre-back, I see the need for it, because we definitely need that. We're struggling for numbers at centre-back, and we need to up the quality. Winger, we need that. But striker, we have two guys who can score goals.
If Son gets injured, then what? What are you saying then, if Son gets injured?
If Son gets injured, we have Richarlison.
Yeah, but then who plays on? Okay, so you're saying if we get a winger, then we're cool.
Yeah, I want a winger.
Richarlison's
I want a
not
winger.
Clinical like Son, though, is he? He's not clinical like Son.
You're never. Who are you buying? Who's as clinical as Son?
Well, I don't know. We've invested a lot of money in this data analytics department. Isn't their job to unearth the gems?
Son is like the best finisher in Europe.
Yeah, I get that, Sim, but it's about strengthening. It's about strengthening areas where we need, where there's a deficiency. When I look at Spurs this season, we aren't putting games to bed, partly because we're not taking chances, and that is partly down to not having another top striker at the club. I don't regard Richarlison as a top striker. I think he's just found a good little patch. Long may it continue. I hope Richarlison ends with 20 goals this season. That'd be phenomenal. I'd be in a humble pie for me. But I want someone that can actually add and scare defences, add to Tottenham's squad and scare defences. I think we need the left winger as well. I don't think it's one or the other. I think we need both.
I think long term we probably need both. I'm just saying from now to the end of the season. I don't know. I just can't see Tottenham doing it. I can't see Tottenham doing it.
Sim, that's exactly my point.
It depends on Rishi. I mean, it depends on Rishi because in the summer we might want to cut our losses on him and say, look, he's not good enough. But right now he's in good goal scoring form. I think 7 goal contributions already this season, 4 goals. He's just come back from surgery. He's looking sharp. So I want to give him a go. I don't want to just throw him by the wayside.
You just said long term we probably need another striker.
Oh, Son's 31.
Right, I'm saying long term, we don't know what's going to happen. Short term now, we've got a chance of maybe doing something. This is my whole argument. I think we all agree another striker needs to come to Spurs at some point. My argument is, can we show ambition now when an opportunity has arisen that we never thought would exist, where the league's wide open? That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I'd love to say yes, but I just don't. I don't think many clubs in our position would sign a striker right now in that position. I don't think, in my opinion, when they've got 2 strikers there.
Arsenal are looking for one. I bet Arsenal are looking for one.
Well, there are rumours of them signing Ivan Toney, but is there enough goals between Jesus and Nketiah? I don't know. None of them are going to get as many as Son. Like Jesus has scored less than Jesus has got less goals than Richarlison this season. So no wonder they won one.
I think Arsenal have scored as many goals as us this season in the league.
No, goals in general. I'm just saying those 2 strikers. Jesus is less than Richarlison.
Okay, I take back the word striker then. I want us to sign a top goal scorer. Whether he's left, attacking mid, striker, wing back. I want someone that comes in and adds goals to this team.
I agree with you. I think the wingers need to be contributing a bit more for the goals. I think 100%. Maybe a goal-scoring winger. I think they need to be because I think the strikers at the moment are, what was it, 15 goals between them. They're doing okay. The wingers at the moment, how many goals are they on? Kulu's got 5, but a few of them have been from the centre. Johnson's got 1. And then I'm struggling. Who else is, Solomon's been out. 0. Brian Hill 0. Yeah, so... Yeah, I would say goal-scoring winger. I think that's probably a more priority than a striker. And look, if we got time and if we got money to spend on a striker, I'm all for it. I'm not going to be unhappy if we sign a striker. I would just say centre-back and winger are more of a priority. I think we should get them first. Then if we can get a striker, we can get a striker. That'll be brilliant.
So your priority is winger and then what?
Centre-back, winger. Look, people saying centre-mid, but we have a lot of centre-mids. Unless we're going to sell Højbjerg and Skip in January. Like we got Bentancur, Sarr, Basuma, now Kulusevski can play there, Maddison can play there, Lo Celso can play there. Like we got a lot of players there, and I know when you look at January, it looks threadbare because of AFCON and injuries and all that kind of stuff. But you don't just sign players on the base on the back of they're going to be missing because we're going to have 1 month where it's tough. You can't just permanently sign a player, maybe a loan deal, but I don't think we should be spending big money on a centre mid because for 1 month we're going to be short. I don't think that's a proper way to deal with things, if you know what I mean. Unless we're selling Højbjerg and Skip, then we can sign one.
We're definitely signing just 2 players then. Just off the back of what you just said, we're only going to sign a centre-back or winger. Say no more.
All right, I'll take it.
From 4, he's got to 2.
And trust me, I will be happy with 1 by the end of January. We'll make us sweat.